My name is Frank Morrow. I'm a senior service officer at the Veteran Service Office here in Clermont County. I want to thank you all for coming out today. We're going to open this ceremony up with an introduction, opening remarks with my commission president, Cliff Riley.
Thank you, Frank. This truly is an exciting time. I don't know that this has ever been done here before. This is history in the making, and we've got a lot of people here to witness this wonderful event. We have a couple of our employers here that employ veterans, and we're really proud of them, and we thank them for supporting our veterans. And one of the employers said to me, he said, "Let me tell you about this recent veteran I just hired." And I said, "Okay." He said, "Well, we hired him, and he came in every day late for the whole first week." And he started calling in the office, and I said, "Look, you know, you're going to have to show up a little more on time and be a good example for everybody else, the other veterans we got here." And the veteran said, "Well," he said, "I will try to do better." So the next week, the same thing. The veteran came in late every day, and so the employer calls him in, and he said, "Look, I talked to you about this last week." And the veteran said, "Well, I'm going to try to be better." And he said, "Well, when you were in the military, did you come in late often?" He said, yeah, I did." He said, "Well, what did they say to you?" He said, "Generally, they said, 'Good morning, General. Would you like a cup of coffee?'"
At this time, I'd like to call up my director, Howard Doherty, and he is going to offer the invocation.
Could we all stand, those that can? Please uncover. What a beautiful day we've had here today. It's nice to see this crowd here, and there's a lot of people smiling, and that is a good thing, a real good thing. If you would, bow your heads. Our Father in heaven, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the soldiers that have come here. We thank you for the people that are supporting the soldiers that have come here. The three, but yet there's many, many more from World War II, Korea, and all the wars, Vietnam and the latest wars. I pray that you will keep those from harm's way and bring them all home safely to us. And Father, I just want to thank you for this opportunity to be here, to enjoy this day, to be with these soldiers, to be with the people that are supporting and are so proud of their family members and the people that serve our country. I want to thank you. In your name we pray, amen. Be seated, please.
Commander of the Color Guard. At this time, I'd like to call up Miss Emily Leach from Batavia High School, and she is going to be performing our national anthem for us.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
At this time, I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker, Colonel Promotable Troy D. Koch, Commander of the 11th Aviation Command, Fort Knox, Kentucky. Colonel Troy D. Coke began his military career when he enlisted in the Army Reserves in 1982. He received his commission as a second lieutenant through the Reserve Officers Training Corps at Central Missouri State University as a quartermaster officer in 1984. He holds a Bachelor's of Science in Aviation Maintenance Technology and received his Master's of Science in Aviation Safety. Colonel Coke's awards include the Defense Superior Service Medal, the Legion of Merit, 2 Bronze Stars, 6 Meritorious Service Medals, 6 Army Commendation Medals, and 6 Army Achievement Medals. He also earned the Army's coveted Senior Aviation Wings. Colonel Coke has deployed twice, both in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. He is a graduate of the Command General Staff College. Colonel Coke has commanded units at every level of the chain of command to the division level. Colonel Coke has been confirmed for promotion to Brigadier General and is currently the commander of the 11th Aviation Command in Fort Knox, Kentucky. Colonel Coke is married to Sarah Coke, and they have 3 children. Please help me welcome Colonel Troy D. Coke.
Good afternoon to all distinguished guests, veterans, and family members. Thank you for being here. It is a great honor to be with you today to recognize these 3 heroes from World War II. France has bestowed their highest honor on the 3 veterans that are seated before you for outstanding performance of their duty during World War II. They risked their lives in the skies and on the beaches of northern France in order to liberate France from the Nazi occupation. Frankly, I am humbled to be in your presence. The Legion of Honor was created by Napoleon Bonaparte in 1802 to recognize extraordinary contributions to the country. The Legion of Honor is France's highest distinction. Membership in the Legion is greatly restricted to French nationals. However, U.S. veterans who risked their lives during World War II fighting on French soil may also receive the award. Those selected today are appointed to the rank of Knight of the Legion of Honor. Tom Brokaw called the Americans who grew up during the Great Depression and then went on to fight in World War II the greatest generation any society has ever produced. He argued that these men and women fought not for fame or recognition, but because it was the right thing to do. When they came back, they built America into the great country we know today. Master Sergeant Charles Fairbanks, known as Don, was a tail gunner in a B-24 Liberator with the Carpetbaggers in the 8th Air Force. He flew 30 night missions, dispatching supplies to the French and Belgian underground resistance. For his service in the war, Master Sergeant Fairbanks earned the Distinguished Flying Cross. Technician 5th grade John Dinka was assigned to both 5th and 7th Army in support of campaigns in Africa, Italy, and France. During the Battle of the Bulge, he was temporarily assigned to the 101st Airborne, where he parachuted behind enemy lines to conduct special operations. He was awarded the Silver Star, Bronze Star, and Purple Heart during this mission. Private First Class Carl Sims, known as Fuzzy, was awarded the Bronze Star while assigned to 5th Army as a truck driver. Fuzzy nearly died during one of the beach landings. His ammunition and gear were so heavy that he began to drown. A fellow soldier, seeing him struggle, pulled him out of the water and dragged him to shore. These soldiers don't see themselves as brave or special. They will tell you they just did their job. Our democracy depends on the willingness of men like this to step forward and serve a greater cause. This cause continues today. These 3 men we honor today represent our nation's greatest assets, our veterans. Their achievements speak volumes about their lives. We are truly in good company. They deserve a round of applause. The strength of our nation is in our military. The strength of our army is in our soldiers. The strength of our soldiers are in their families. That is what makes this Army strong. There is something unique and patriotic about anyone who chooses to serve their country in the military. I am honored and privileged to present them with this award for their service and sacrifice. May God bless you, may God bless your families, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Coate. And now we're going to get on with what we're here for. Can I have Private First Class Carl Fuzzy Sims? Mr. Sims did serve as a truck driver while in the 5th Army, but I don't think he did a whole lot of truck driving. He was awarded 6 Bronze Battle Stars. He did 6 beach landings. He was a little busy. He didn't have time to drive a truck. He had participation in campaigns in Sicily, Naples, Rome, Rhineland, southern France, and Central Europe. The 5th Army is well known for driving the Germans north out of France. Carl was awarded the Bronze Star Medal while assigned to the 5th Army. Don't go nowhere, Fuzzy. Don't go anywhere. We have something else for you, too. We assembled a shadow box with all his awards, his rank, his picture. I want you all to look at his picture from 1944. He was a pretty sharp-looking guy. I don't know what happened to him since then. Fuzzy's a proud man, and he deserves it.
Cool.
Next, I'd like to call up Master Sergeant Charles Don Fairbanks. Actually, I want everybody to look at all three of their pictures in their shadow boxes, because I would have never guessed that that's who they were. Except for Don, he's got a distinctive set of choppers on him, so he looks the same in his picture. Don Fairbanks was a tail gunner in a consolidated B-24 Liberator with the carpetbaggers in the 8th Air Force. Mr. Fairbanks flew 30 night missions, dispatching supplies to the French and the Belgian underground resistance. He is the author of the book, Once Around the Patch of Life. Don has over 33,000 flight hours in 335 makes and models of aircraft, and is currently operating his helicopter flight training business since 1957. He is also a Tri-State Warbird Museum Contribution to Freedom Award recipient. Master Sergeant Don Fairbanks. Also want to point out that Don is in receipt of the Distinguished Flying Cross, which I believe is the 4th highest award in the United States military. Technician 5th grade John I. Dinka. John Dinka was originally assigned to the 5th Army to support the Africa, Sicily, and Italy campaigns, including operations in the northern Apennine Mountains. During Operation Anvil, Allied commanders realized that additional forces were needed to fight the enemy. While Mr. Dinka was pulled back in the reserve, he was reassigned to the 7th Army. Their unit was tasked to hold the southern flank and then was required to move north to drive the Germans out of France. During the Battle of the Bulge, Mr. Dinka was temporarily assigned to the 101st Airborne, where he made jumps behind enemy lines to conduct a special project. He was awarded the Silver Star, Bronze Star, and Purple Heart during that project. Mr. Dinka spent his final months in the military at Camp Pittsburgh Processing Station in France. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce the name of the word. As an NCO, he was charged with in and out processing of troops during the occupation of France. Mr. Dinka was shipped back to the U.S. and discharged March 1946. He was only a civilian for a short time and then called to service during the Korean conflict. During that time, he was NCOIC of materials at Fort Meade, Maryland. He was discharged September 1951. Technician, 5th grade, John I. Dinka.
sir.
At this time, we have a special few words by a young lady whom I just met about 20 minutes ago, and I found out she was going to speak and say a few words, and we're really happy to have her. I'd like you to welcome Anne-Marie O'Brien, who was born in Normandy, France, and she wants to come up and say a few words and thank these gentlemen for their service to France.
Well, like he said, my name is Anne-Marie O'Brien. I was born in 1942 in Le Havre, France, near Étretat. And I will never forget all those brave Americans who saved me and saved France. And you know what? When you go to France, don't believe what they say in a newspaper. The French love the American. They really do.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. It was a surprise. Thank you very much. Before we close out and retire the colors, I'd like to have Colonel Koch and Captain Moss, I know he's around here somewhere, and Lieutenant Pelletier. Did I say that right? Come on up. We have our own challenge coins, and I wanted to make sure that you all got one of ours. Challenge coins, I guess, are a big thing in the military now. They weren't when I was in, I don't know why. But, sir, I wanted to present this to you as our Claremont County Veteran Service Commission challenge coin. There we go.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Captain Moss? Lieutenant Pelletier? Did I say that right? I also want to read a thank you that was put together by Mr. Dinka. It's a statement of appreciation that he assembled. It reads, "I wish to express my heartfelt appreciation for the recognition that all of you have bestowed on myself this day. It was a duty and an honor to serve my country, the nation of France, and other nations during World War II and the Korean conflict. In recognition of these honors bestowed upon me this day, I wish to recognize and provide my deeply sincere appreciations to the following: the citizens of the United States of America, the citizens of the nation of France, the President of the nation of France, the Honorable Mr. Francois Hollande, the French Ambassador to the United States, Mr. Francois Dellet." I had high school French, guys, and this is really taxing me here a little bit. The dedicated and thorough staff of the French Consulate in Chicago, the Claremont County Commissioners, the Batavia Township Trustees, the Claremont County Veterans Service Commission, who painstakingly organized and orchestrated all the festivities today, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, the American Legion, the Operations Management of the Warbird Museum, other organizations and participants of which I may not be aware, and each of you who participated today in bestowing these great honors. Each of us served so that you would be free. Because we served and risked our safety, our futures, and our lives, you were able to pursue your lives and your passions and interests. We risked everything so that you had the opportunity to do something meaningful and positive with your lives. We wanted each of you to become productive citizens who would then have the knowledge and patriotism to guarantee the freedoms of yourselves and the freedoms of future generations. Remember that our freedoms have a price, and they will never remain free. If at all, if you are not willing to stand up strongly, passionately, most bravely, and be willing to risk everything to protect them from those in this country and around the world who passionately wish to take them away. Sincerely, John I. Dinka, Jr. Thank you to the VFW Color Guard. Before we close, I would like to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about the Tri-State Warbird Museum. Feel free to look around today. They have an A-class facility here. They initiated this in 2005. It is a museum. They're open on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And I'd like to point out Mr. Paul. This is Paul. He's the president of the Tri-State Warbird Museum. Raise your hand again, Paul, so everybody can see you there. Come on up here. I got something for you, too. And I'm going to say this, but they do accept donations up front, and they also have a few items for sale to help support this museum. It's a worthy cause. Please feel free to look around. There is a second hangar behind us. It's all connected. There's a B-25 and several other aircraft over there. But I also have a challenge coin for you, sir.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for hosting this for us. We appreciate it. Again, thank you all for coming out today. We appreciate your attendance and honoring these three gentlemen. They are definitely my heroes, and I'm sure everybody else's. Please feel free to thank them. Come up to them, talk to them, let them know how it's going, and eat our food, please. If you don't, it looks like we're going to have a lot of leftovers for at least a couple of weeks, so please stay around and have fun. Thank you very much.